They say legends are born in places the law forgot. This is one of them. The story of the fire preacher and his grave in Rattlesnake Canyon has been passed around for generations in whispers, old journals, and warnings from those who've walked that canyon alone. While no official records confirm every detail, the legend lives on, and some say the ghost still walks. Whether you believe or not, that's up to you. In the dry, winding cliffs of western Colorado, where the sun turns sandstone into fire and shadows twist through the canyons, there's a place few talk about: Rattlesnake Canyon. It sits near what's now the Colorado National Monument, known today for its natural arches and hiking trails, but back in the late 1800s, it was an untamed stretch of land full of outlaws, whispers, and secrets that never made it out of the canyon. And somewhere out there, beneath a pile of rocks and faded wood, lies the body, or what's left, of a man named Reverend Ezekiel Blackstone, also known as the Fire Preacher. Not much was written down about Ezekiel Blackstone in official records. Some say he was born around 1838 in Missouri, possibly in Boone or Carroll County. His family was poor, but pious. His father was a circuit riding preacher, one of many who traveled by horseback, bringing the word of God to frontier cabins, saloons, and wherever people gathered. Back then, circuit preachers were common across the West. These men braved snow, rain, and bandits. They'd ride for weeks to reach scattered settlements. Most had little education, but they carried tattered Bibles and could preach hellfire well enough to hush a saloon. Ezekiel was cut from the same cloth, but something about him was different. He didn't just talk about heaven, he warned of damnation. His sermons were loud, emotional, and intense. Folks said he could bring grown men to their knees. Some believed he'd seen visions. Others whispered he'd gone mad after losing his wife and son to cholera on the wagon trail. By the time Ezekiel arrived in Colorado Territory around 1878, the region was still trying to settle into something civilized. Grand Junction didn't even exist yet. It would be founded in 1881. Most of the land near what is now Glade Park was dotted with sheep herders, miners, and a few families clinging to rough homesteads. The Ute tribe still held much of the land, though conflict with settlers and the U.S. government was escalating. The Meeker Massacre happened not far away in 1879, leading to more displacement and violence. Ezekiel chose Rattlesnake Canyon, a remote stretch of land with a spring near the base of a red cliff. He built a small chapel, just a frame of wood, with no doors, no windows. He placed a stone at the front and began to preach. At first, no one came. Then a woman, then a miner, then a grieving mother. And people listened. The Lobo Riders were a gang known across parts of Colorado and Utah. Not famous like the James Gang, but dangerous just the same. Horse thieves, whiskey runners, and suspected killers. They used the twisting canyon trails to move stolen goods and avoid the law. According to newspaper clippings from the Rocky Mountain News, 1883, a gang matching the Lobo Riders' description was being hunted by territorial marshals for robbing a paymaster near Gunnison. Witnesses described a group of men dressed in black dusters, armed to the teeth, riding with no brand. Locals believed the Lobo Riders were operating out of Rattlesnake Canyon. And Ezekiel? He preached about them. Loudly. He called them wolves in men's skins. He told his congregation that God would strike down those who fed on the weak. One Sunday he looked out at the crowd and asked, "How many devils are sitting among us today?" It was a line folks remembered, and the last sermon Ezekiel ever gave. In the fall of 1884, Ezekiel was found dead at the foot of his own pulpit. The chapel had burned in the night, though the canyon had no lightning storms. Some say the fire was set to scare him. Some say it was meant to silence him. His body was untouched by the flames, lying with arms spread wide, his worn Bible across his chest. A few said his eyes were open, staring straight up like he'd seen something no man should. The sheriff from Gunnison never made it out. By the time word reached any authority, Ezekiel had already been buried by locals. They placed him in a shallow grave beside the spring where he once baptized folks. They used rocks and wood for a marker. It read, "Here lies the fire preacher. God knows the truth." No arrests were made. No trials followed. And just like that, the story should have ended. But it didn't. For well over a century, hikers and campers have reported strange things in Rattlesnake Canyon. 1907, a cowboy reported hearing a man shouting Bible verses near the cliffs. He thought he was being followed. His horse refused to go near the spring. 1941, a park ranger named Lyle Broddick camped near the canyon and later wrote in his journal, "Something walked around my tent for hours, whispering my name in a voice I can't describe." 1998, a church group from Grand Junction claimed they saw a man standing by a pile of stones in the distance. When they approached, it disappeared. There are also reports of campfires being snuffed out suddenly, whispers in the night, and a heavy feeling near what is believed to be Preacher's grave. A few hikers claim to have seen a shadowy man in a long coat holding a lantern. It's silently mouthing words no one can hear. During Ezekiel's time, western Colorado was known for its lawless gaps, regions where no single sheriff had jurisdiction and bandits moved through canyons like rivers. The 1880 crime reports from the area noted stolen livestock, unsolved murders, and entire settlements abandoned overnight due to gang threats. Newspapers at the time didn't report on Ezekiel's death, likely because it was too remote. But there is a brief article in the 1884 Grand River Chronicle that mentions a traveling preacher found dead near Glade Park, presumed victim of bandit intimidation. It doesn't give his name, but the date matches. Then, Rattlesnake Canyon was a crossroads of survival and sin, a place where people prayed not just for salvation, but for a safe night's sleep. Families came west for land and freedom, but found danger waiting in the red rocks. Now the area is managed by the Bureau of Land Management. It's known for its arches, like Cedar Tree Arch and East Rim Arch. Tourists hike, take photos, and admire the views, most never knowing the canyon still holds the bones of a man who once cried out against evil. Rattlesnake Canyon today is one of Colorado's most breathtaking natural sights, home to the second largest concentration of natural arches in North America. Located within the Black Ridge Canyon's wilderness, part of the McGinnis Canyons National Conservation Area, it offers miles of rugged trails, backcountry camping, and sweeping views of red rock formations. Though it draws outdoor lovers from around the country, parts of the canyon remain remote, unmarked, and deeply quiet, especially near the areas where the old spring once flowed. Some say the land still carries a presence, a heavy stillness that comes and goes without warning. But the locals, especially old-timers in Glade Park, still talk. They won't camp there. Some won't even walk near the unmarked trails, and a few say that every Sunday evening you can still hear the preacher's voice rising with the wind, warning the lost not to fall too far. So if you ever find yourself hiking Rattlesnake Canyon near dusk, and you feel the sudden urge to bow your head, don't fight it, because some say the fire preacher's still out there, watching the canyon, waiting to finish his sermon. Thanks for watching Haunted Hillbillies. If you like this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and come back for more legends, mysteries, and ghost tales from the forgotten corners of America.